Hello, everyone. Welcome to OAEA's Online Professional Development to learn a little bit more about Google Meet. Today, I would just like to take some time to give you a tour of the workspace here. And then we'll take some time for questions and some time for practice if members would like to do so. Right now, as you can see on my screen, you should only be able to see the OAEA logo in the middle of your screen. And the reason for that is because I have turned off the video option at the bottom of the screen here. So you can see that control there with the red button. If I click that button off, then you would see a live feed video. But what I would like to do today is take some time to share a presentation with you about Google Meet and some other online learning resources that I have. So on your screens here, if you go to the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you should receive some information about the Google Meet session that's been set up. And then you should also have an attachment for this meeting. So that's where the slideshow is that I've created. I also have that slideshow linked in the calendar invite that you could see on our OAEA calendar. But what I'll do is I'll also copy and paste this link into the chat. So the chat session for Google Meet is up in the top right-hand corner here of the screen. And when I click on the box that looks like a text box, it will open the chat for this session. Even though I've used this link for this chat session previously, the chat session does not save from one time to another. So when you're using the chat session, and if there's any information there that you want to save for later, you should highlight everything that's in the chat box at the end of the chat session, and then copy and paste it into an email to yourself, or you could copy and paste it into a Google Doc, just somewhere so you can refer back to it later. On the back end of Google, the Google administrator for your account does have access to the chat section of Google Meet, but for most of us in schools, that would mean contacting our technology department or possibly a principal to get into the back end of Google, search for the chat, and then get that information to us. So the best thing to do would be to copy and paste that information as often as you might need it. So what I'll do is switch over to my presentation and grab the link there so I can share it with you. Sharing it there now, so you should see a hyperlink there. Right now, since I'm presenting this topic to myself so that I can create this recording for you in a somewhat organized way, you can see next to the chat that there's only one person involved in this presentation. So for you as teachers, if you want to use just one streamlined tool for your online learning experiences, you could actually use Google Meet to record videos for your students, and then you could also use Google Meet to interact with your students. So in order to present that slideshow, if I go down to the bottom of my screen here, there is a Present Now button, and you can choose to present your entire screen. So students would see any of the tabs you have open with your email, or if you had your grade book open, or notes that you took for class. So if you do just want students to see one item that you have open, I would suggest putting that item in a separate internet window or browser window. So you can see up here, like I have the OAEA calendar open, I have the responses to the form that you all filled out to join us tonight. Google Meet is here, and then here I had Googled information about Google Meet. So my presentation is not open here. I do have it set up in a different window. So I'm going to click Window. And then when you see this window here, these are all the different tabs that I have open on my computer right now. And they're all embedded in different windows. And you can see here, like, these are all Google Chrome windows that I have open. This spreadsheet that I have going here is actually in Microsoft Edge, which is a different browser. If you use like Google Chrome for schoolwork and you use Safari or Firefox or Edge, for instance, for other work, you can select different internet windows in order to share them. I also have Photoshop open right now, so this is a piece of artwork we're working on with students. So you can share application windows as well. So it could be Word or PowerPoint. It could be Photoshop. It could be any sort of software that you keep on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the slideshow. Now you can see a message that says you are presenting this screen, and I received a message showing that I'm presenting to everyone. Down at the bottom here, it says Meet is sharing a window, and in the people section over here, you can see now that there's my original the OAEA Communications Chair profile, which is considered a person in the Meet. But then the presentation itself is also a separate item here. So with this item, it gives you some control, like in the people section. If you want to hide or delete the presentation, you can do that here as well. Another way to stop sharing your presentation is just to hit the stop sharing button. So I am going to switch over now to the presentation so that you can actually see it in this recorded video. So now if I go down to Present Now and present my entire screen, I've actually now embedded the presentation I wanted to share with you in the tabs at the top of the internet window that I'm actually in. So it's right next to the tab that says Google Meet. So I'll click that I want to share my entire screen. And now when I'm navigating to the presentation that I created, you should be able to see everything that I'm clicking on and be able to follow along with me. So the one thing I did want to show you is that depending on the quality of both your internet service and your students' internet service, there could be a different quality in how students can see video through Google Meet. If everyone has great internet, then watching videos together through Google Meet might be a possibility. But I'll show you in this video here how, like, sometimes if internet connection isn't great, it can jump and glitch a little bit as you're trying to show it. So hopefully you learned a little bit about effective video conferencing as you checked out that video. It is embedded in the slideshow, so if you want to watch it again on your own, you can definitely do that if you open the slideshow yourself on an internet window. But the hilarious thing of working with technology sometimes is that it is unpredictable. So the last 3 times I tried to play that video, it actually did glitch quite a bit. There was a lot of processing that happened as the video was trying to run. But as I presented this video to you, it played fine all the way through. So it is sort of a toss-up there on how you want to share that, how you want to share video with your students. But truly, I think best practice is if you would like your students to watch a video, you might tell them how long the video is, and then send them the link in chat or point to where it might be in a presentation, and then actually sort of remove yourself from the equation for the few minutes that the video should be playing on their own computers. I would have them click on the link and then watch it in a window on their own individually, and then come back as a group. That might be a good time too for students to stop and take a bathroom break and come back. If you think that you can get your students to kind of, I don't know, take a mental break like that and then come back together. So that's just a tip with working with video here as you're working with me. The next slide that I have in the presentation is sort of a quick start guide for me if you would like to see that. It's the full document's available here. So I mostly just dropped this in here as a reference for you. But truly, starting a Google Meet should be as simple as going to Meet and then seeing this window here where you can join or start a meeting. You click that button, fill in your details of when you want it to happen and who you might want to share it with. And then you should get the same kind of code that was given to you once you filled out the form from me. So again, just to show you the code information or the phone number that you can share with your students is here. It's this information. So I think I'll just drop this in the slideshow right here so that you can see it later. Now the one sort of troubleshooting issue that I found using Meet with my students is that sometimes they get really excited when they are first ready to join a Meet, and they just start clicking buttons and they're not listening to you, and they're seeing their friends pop up on the screen and they just are totally distracted. So as they're clicking all these buttons, sometimes they actually turn off the permissions for the camera and microphone on their computer. So if you're seeing that students are trying to talk to you, or you see their name pop up and you don't see their image at all, and you don't see that their video is turned off, if you're trying to help them troubleshoot that, if you go up to the web browser or the web address area of the internet page that you're on, you should see the little video camera up at the top, and then you can change the settings here to allow the microphone and camera. So if students are really having a hard time understanding the instructions verbally, I would suggest trying to guide them through sharing their screens with you. And then hopefully if they share the screen with you, then you would be able to help them like figure out what to click on to fix that problem. Another sort of twist on online learning and teaching is, you know, sometimes personally I feel like, you know, I don't mind people taking my picture, but I forget sometimes like how I look when I'm on camera. And it becomes a distraction for me. So these are some tips that are out there that I've found where you could consider like setting up your environment in a certain way, making sure you're sitting a certain distance from your computer in that environment, and then practicing as much as you can before you present online. This is my second experience with more formalized sort of online teaching. So I know I have skills that I still need to get better at with this process, but definitely working out a lot easier the second time around than it did the first time last night. So there's some thoughts to consider. And then you know, with this transition that we're going through to online learning, I feel like, you know, I really want to still know my students and have that sort of, I don't know, classroom environment or classroom culture that I had when I could work with them face to face. So these are a few items that personally I'm trying to focus on when I build lessons or when I'm trying to run activities with my students through Google Meet. So your schools might be making other suggestions to you, or there might be some other fantastic ideas out there. And if there's anything that you're learning that you would like to share with me, I would definitely love if farther down in the slideshow here, if you would like to make an extra slide and drop your ideas in. I think anything that you would want to share here would be great for other people participating in this online professional development with us. So in any case, some of the ideas are having a backup plan for technology issues. So I think it would be a good idea to start off a Meet session talking to students about what they should expect or what they should do if either you are dropped from the Google Meet or if they disappear from the Google Meet. I think the easiest problem solving for that is to tell students to email you if they can't figure out what's going on, or if you disappear, they should know to stay in the Meet and that you will email them if you can't reconnect to the Meet. So just having that plan from the beginning might make things easier for everybody in the long run. It might be interesting to, you know, start off the Meet with either students or yourself sharing something personal that's a visual reference that maybe is kind of engaging for the whole group. So, you know, if we're at our houses and we happen to have pets, like it's an interesting topic for some students. If you're having breakfast or lunch, you know, during the time when students are with you, you know, like maybe just like showing them, like, here's my cup of coffee and my special mug that I only use at home. Like that might be something to get their attention and spark some discussion about what they have going on at their homes. The other option, if you don't really want to have personal conversations, is I do have some links in here for different free online tours that you could take with students. So again, like you could take one of these links and click on it so it's opened up in its own tab next to your Google Meet tab. And then if you share your whole screen, you could take students on a tour of that area. So they're all seeing the same thing. Or you could maybe ask them for 5 minutes to explore the space, find something they like, and then they could practice sharing their own screens with you. Another thing that could help with engagement is sharing links and documents through Google Meet. You can share them in the chat, like I did at the beginning of this presentation, or you can attach documents to the title of the meet in the bottom left. That way students can find them if they look back on like a Google Calendar, and they could collect things that way. There are a fair number of online icebreakers out there. Some of them tend to be geared more towards higher ed and adult learners from what I've found. But I thought both of these links had some icebreakers that might be interesting to start an online session with and could maybe work for K through 12 learners. I do think that with online learning, I mean, students are going to have so many distractions around them, whether it's like something on the devices that they're using or in someone or something in the environment around them. So I really think taking as many opportunities as you can to review key topics and repeat information for students is really beneficial for them in the long run with this process. There is also an option, like I've mentioned, that you can record your Google Meet session and then post it for students to review. There's a link here down at the bottom where you can select that, and it'll give you specific steps on how to record your session. And then finally, it could be interesting, I think, to start a library or a bank of video images or clips that you might share with your class when a student responds well, or just when you're trying to shake things up a little bit while you're presenting in Meet. So it could be, you know, a video clip of like people clapping, or an emoji that you think is fun, or a pop culture reference that's age appropriate for your students. So it's just a moment where, like, in class we get some of these sort of subtle clues from each other, you know, like from body language or from participation in certain ways, like throughout the room. But, you know, without being able really to see probably much other than each other's heads on Google Meet, it could be that, you know, some of these extra videos and images might be another way to help students feel like safe with you, like understand that this is a culture and environment on its own, and that it can be a fun way to learn, just like it is in the classroom when we get to be together. The last two slides that are here, I was going to use during my live presentation of this topic. So what I did is, for this slide here, number 9, is I just created an introduction slide about an icebreaker topic, so students could perhaps read this slide and learn about what it is they're going to do. And then on the next slide, students could practice using some of the Google tools up in the options here. Grab a text box and draw a text box to type their name in, and then practice dragging the text box, you know, around the screen. So in one part of this activity, you know, students are learning tech skills, but on the other hand, it's an icebreaker activity, so that, you know, the students are learning a little bit more about each other, and probably also like trying to help coach each other throughout the process as they're learning the tech tools. So I appreciate you joining me today with Google Meet. I am going to stop sharing this presentation. So I just click that down at the bottom of the screen there, and then I'm switching back over to Google Meet, where you can see the logo again for my Google account. I am more than happy to do anything I can to help guide you through using Google Meet if you're having troubles along the way or having a hard time getting started. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me at communicationscheir@ohioarted.com, and I will get back to you with anything that I know that might help you, or I'm happy to research the answer for you. So thanks for being here, and be well, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.